I have just had a letter from Jane with such horrible news, she finally choked out. It cannot be concealed from anyone. My youngest sister has left all her friends, has eloped. She has thrown herself into the power of Mr. Wickham. They have gone off together from Brighton. You know him too well to doubt the rest. She has no money, no connections, nothing that can tempt him to... She is lost forever.
Darcy jolted in astonished horror. What?
Lydia has run off with Wickham, she repeated. Oh, I was such a fool. I knew what he was. I knew he was a reprobate, but it did not occur to me. I did not imagine that he would have any interest in my youngest sister. I should have said something. It is my fault.
Darcy felt an almost overwhelming desire to pull her into his arms and kiss away her tears, but that was not the action of an honourable man. No. What Elizabeth needed was actual assistance in this family tragedy. I will find them, he said flatly, and deal with the matter as best I can. This provoked a look of astonishment, along with, he thought, a glimmer of hope.
You?
She asked a moment later.
Oh, no, sir, it is not your problem.
It is my problem, he exclaimed. Because I love you, and I always will, and if I had done what I should have in dealing with that scoundrel, this never would have happened.
It is not your fault, Elizabeth cried out. It is my father's and my mother's and Lydia's and Wickham's, and yes, even mine. It has nothing to do with you. Moreover, I would not have you sharing our shame in any way.
Miss Bennet. She looked up at him, her eyes red, her cheeks mottled in her distress, and yet he had never loved her so much as in this time of weakness.
Yes?
She asked shakily. My own sister agreed to run away with Wickham, he pointed out gently. Elizabeth swallowed convulsively and whispered,
He would have married Miss Darcy if he had succeeded in running away with her.
Because of her dowry, yes, that is true. But your sister and mine both made terrible mistakes where George Wickham was concerned. I will not step aside and leave you to settle this alone. I have long known Wickham to be dangerous, but my own foolish pride and my fear for Georgiana's reputation kept me silent. No more, Miss Bennet. No more. I will find them, and I will deal with Wickham, and I will make this right.
How can you?
She asked, and the despair in her voice made his heart twist in agony.
The only solution to save us from ruin is for them to be married, and yet Wickham will refuse. Surely he will refuse, given that my father is not wealthy enough to provide much to support them.
Darcy considered this for a long moment, and finally said, Do I have your permission to speak to Colonel Fitzwilliam on this matter? He is even more eager than I am to punish Wickham after what he did to Georgiana. I am certain there is a way to save your family's reputation without tying your youngest sister to Wickham forever, a fate I would wish on no woman. Elizabeth blinked hard and managed a wavering smile.
She will not understand that, you know. To her, Wickham must seem like the most wonderful of possible husbands in all the world. He's both handsome and charming.
Yes, and he is a profligate and a gambler, and he will not be faithful to her. Perhaps we will need to arrange for a marriage between them, but if it can be avoided... My dear Miss Bennet, he will be the worst possible husband to Miss Lydia, and while you are undoubtedly angry with her, she is very young to be shackled to such a horrendous man.
That is true enough, Elizabeth said miserably. But if they do not marry, we will be ruined, all of us.
Not in my eyes, Darcy said gravely. Never in my eyes. I will not importune you during such a ghastly time, but be assured of my love, my respect, and my friendship for ever going forward, regardless of what happens.